If you ask 10 different people what they think about the police, you're probably going to get 10 very different answers. Some people fully support the police, some people don't trust us at all, and a lot of people fall somewhere in between. But here's the reality. Most of those opinions are built on incomplete information. Not lies necessarily, but pieces of the truth without the full picture. If you're new here, my name's Isaiah, and I want to be very clear about something right from the start. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm not here to convince you that police are perfect, because we're not. I'm also not here to ignore the fact that there are real issues, because there are. But what I am here to do is give you perspective from someone who's actually lived this job. Because whether you support the police or not, your opinion should at least be based on a full understanding of what's really happening. So let's start with one of the most common misconceptions, that cops are just out here looking to arrest people. That idea gets pushed a lot, but it doesn't line up with reality. Arresting someone is not a quick, easy, or even rewarding part of the job. It's time consuming, it's paperwork intensive, it can take hours out of your shift. And beyond that, it has real consequences for that person's life. Most officers understand that weight, so when people assume that cops are just out here trying to lock people up, what they're missing is this. A lot of the job is actually about problem solving, de-escalating, figuring out how to resolve situations without things going further. Now, obviously, there are situations where arrest is absolutely necessary and sometimes mandated by law. And when that line gets crossed, it gets crossed. But the idea that that's the goal from the start, that's just not how it works. This one right here is probably the biggest disconnect between the public and the police right now. A video goes viral, people see 30 seconds, maybe a minute, and they feel like they understand everything that happened. But what you don't see is the context. You don't hear the 911 call. You don't know what information the officer was given before they got there. You don't know if that person had a weapon 5 seconds earlier. You don't know what happened just before the camera started rolling. And most importantly, you're not the one making decisions in real time. Because in real life, you don't get slow motion. You don't get a redo or replay. You don't get comments telling you what you should have done differently. You get one moment, and you have to make a decision in that moment to the best of your ability. Now, let me be clear. This doesn't mean every officer is right. There are situations where things should have been handled differently. But what it does mean is that judging a situation without the full context is almost always going to lead you to the wrong conclusion. Another thing people often get wrong is thinking that all police officers are the same. Same mindset, same intentions, same behavior. Again, that's not reality. Police departments are made up of individuals with different backgrounds, different life experiences, which creates a bunch of different people who have different ways of handling situations. Some officers rely heavily on communication. Some rely more on control. Some are more patient. Some are more direct, just like in any other profession. But for some reason, when one officer makes a mistake, people apply that to everyone wearing the badge. And that's something that doesn't really happen in other professions the same way. Now, I understand being a law enforcement officer, we have a higher level of responsibility because of the weight of the job. But I'm just trying to give you a different way to think about it. Now, this next one is probably the most damaging. This idea that it's police versus a community, like it's two completely separate sides. But the truth is, we are the community. We live in the same neighborhoods. We go home to our families. We have kids. We want safety just like everyone else. Now, does that mean that there aren't issues? No. Does that mean trust hasn't been damaged in some areas? Absolutely not. But when you frame it as us versus them, or them versus us, you create a divide that makes everything harder to fix. Because at that point, it's not about understanding, it's about choosing sides. Now, here's something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. The idea that police officers don't feel anything, that we just move from call to call completely unaffected. That's not real. There are calls that stick with you. There are things you see that just don't go away and never will. Situations involving kids, families, true violence, and evil. But part of the job is learning how to keep going anyway. And from the outside, that can look like we don't care. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. Because in reality, a lot of officers are carrying things that people never even see. Now let's talk about something important. Accountability. Because anytime you talk about police, this comes up as it should. Police should be held to a high standard. This job comes with a lot of responsibility. And when mistakes happen, they should be addressed. But here's where things get a little bit complicated. Accountability without context isn't real accountability. It's just a reaction usually that comes from emotion. And if we want things to actually improve, we have to be willing to look at the full picture, not just the part that gets attention or that gets blown up in the media in a viral clip. I know not everyone watching this is going to agree with me, and honestly, I don't want you to, because disagreement is where real conversations start. Not yelling, not arguing, but actually listening. That's exactly why I'm trying to build something new. I'm starting a live call-in show where anybody can come on, where you agree, disagree, challenge me. You can ask questions, share your experiences. There'll be no scripts, no filters, just real conversations. So if you've got strong opinions about the police, or just law enforcement as a whole, I want to hear them. So drop them in the comments, and if you want more real, honest conversations just like this one, hit subscribe and join the movement, because this is just the beginning.